Don Smith, where are you, Don? Show us what you learned from your grandson.
Right. Right. Can you see that?
Yes, we can. He's got it.
Just, it's amazing. It's what he's told me. I just can't believe I've got it so quick. Anyway, this is a couple of weeks ago. I showed you a 4-minute egg timer. This is all the equipment I have to make it. As you can see, there's a piece of normal bough of a tree. That's a piece of English yew. And 2 jam chucks, the egg timer, a drill, depth gauge, and my idiot stick. So the first thing is, there's the drawing showing you the size, the lid, the depths, and what have you. I first put it on between centers using a step center and a live center, and I put 2 chucking points on the end of the piece of wood. I then take it off. I fit one end into the chuck, using the center to make certain I'm in dead center before I tighten it. And that is the shape of the piece you're going to cut out. So the first thing is, you mark up and you turn it to around any size at this moment in time. You don't have to be precise. And I mark a point where I'm going to split the lid from the body. There's the mark. I then also, I'll go back, I also put a pencil line on. That pencil line is important because once I've cut this off, I need to bring this back in line so that I've got the grain matching. I now take it off the lathe and I mark up the cross section. This is a square piece or a round piece, it doesn't matter. I make a line from the center to 5/16, 7.5 mil away from that on that line, and that is the same position on both ends. This is most important for in a moment. As you can see, there's the position. I did forget to tell you that what I did, that line, small line, I actually did it the whole length so that I made certain I was on the same line of the center. I then parted off, leaving the little stub inside here on the lid, and parted off then completely. Once I've done that, I drill it to a depth which I've marked on the drill, if you can see it just there. Using my depth gauge to make certain I have gone down deep enough. As you can see, that's not gone all the way in, that's just to show you the distance I've used. Then I take it off the lathe and I put the lid on using the chucking point. And as this is the little piece you saw when I parted it, I concave the inside of it and make the body fit very snugly onto this piece, like so. I now turn it right down, put it on center. The piece has been cut, it's now on center. I've turned it down to 1.25 inch, 1/8 diameter. And I put that pencil line on again to make certain that I'm using the 2 points that I marked at 7.2 mil. I mark the position while I'm still in center. The position using the cut line of the lid and body I mark my 2 turning points for this concave piece. I've now moved it from center to off center.
One end or both?
Megan?
One
Sorry,
end
John?
or both? One end or both ends?
Both ends. That's why you need to have that line, so you make certain that when you put the off-center point, you're on the same place on both ends. And there you can see it being turned round, and there you can see the position off-center at that point. And again, you can see more clearly the off-center point, and I'm slowly concaving this piece out. And there is the hole. You will get slight breakout here. It's unavoidable, but you sand that down once you've got it to the depth. And of course, the beauty of having that pencil line is that if you want to make certain that you've got this area here wide enough to see the egg timer, you can pop the lid off, check it, and pop the lid back on so that the line matches, so that you're back on dead center, off center, shall I say. I've now got it turned. I've now taken it back off. I've now put it back between centers, and I'm marking up my burn line. That's the burn line of between the lid and the body. That's the burn line, and this is my parting off line. This is my diagram for making my jam chuck. And you can now see I've taken the lid off the body. I've sanded it, the body before I took it off, and I'm now fitting it onto the dowel. Now, what you must make certain is the dowel does go into the bottom of this body. Don't leave it like that, because that will snap off. It does need to go right the way through. I've taken this photograph so you can just see it going through, all right? Once I've got that onto the jam chuck, and it's in my lathe, I then part off by bringing up my tailstock live center, and I part off the waste. I sand and polish that piece, as you can see. Now this is my next jam chuck. This is the 9mm hole, and it fits into my chuck like so, and I'm fitting the lid onto that dowel, the dowel into the hole. Again, bringing up your tailstock, I part off the lid, the waste from the lid, sand and polish. I then use a sander sealer on it and 3 buffing wheels. This is the first buffing wheel with the brown compost compound, and that's my final buffing wheel, which is just a buffing wheel, no polish on at all. And that was the finished product.
Wow.
Very sweet little project, Don.
It's I made loads of these over the years. It's good. It's a 3-inch egg timer, 4-minute 3-inch egg timer, and they sit so nicely because they can sit in the kitchen. They're inobtrusive. You slightly undercut the base so that it doesn't rock, and that's more or less it, John. That's
Very nice project. Questions for Don?
Don, which end is the top? I mean, which is the cap? You hit it well with the black line.
That's the whole reason for the burning of the line. If you've got it measured correctly, you won't know which is the end once it's been sanded and polished, because you just glue the top on. With you can use CA glue or a little drop of ordinary PVA glue. But the thing before you fit the lid is to just make certain you that when you put the lid on, that you're not squashing the glass. You want about 0.5 millimeter movement in the glass for movement of the wood later on, before you glue that lid onto the body.
But the glass stays snug most of the time. It doesn't just swim around in there.
So that when you, I've got one, I've literally got the one in front of me here. When you turn it over, it doesn't move at all, and you're working.
All right. I'm going to go back to a gallery so we can see if there's more questions. Yeah. Anybody else?
I'll stop the share.
All right. Yeah. I like little projects like that. I like to know how to do them. I might never do it, but I think it's very clever, and it always feels good to think, oh, that'd be fun.
Right. Can I ask a question? How many people have made flowers? Wooden flowers. I see one.
Quite a
hand.
few.
Quite a few.
There's quite a few.
All right. Because I was going to say I could make that a project for you and show you how I make daffodils.
We can do that in a few weeks. Yeah.
Yeah,
all right. We're right up to the end here, but I see Mike Peace has got a hand up. Mike, you got a comment or something you want to show us quick? You're muted.
No, that was I think I was using my new technique with the zoom, and it captured it.
What do you mean your new technique with the zoom? Do you have one of those cameras that follows you around?
No. If you've upgraded the latest zoom, there's a setting on there where you put your hand up, and it will actually capture that as a raised hand. It's not. There you go. That did it.
How cool is that? How cool is that? All right. Well, that's that brings.
So
us
I raised my
hand.
I raised my hand to show that I'd turned a flower, and it registered.
Well, that's how those Osbot cameras are controlled as well. The automatic pan tilt zoom cameras. You raise your hand to get it to look at you, and then it follows you around. Well, here goes another perfectly good hour, and it's been very interesting this morning. I'm sorry to have used, I'm not sorry, I needed to hear the conversation for the first half about the possibilities here. You guys are really, as always, very helpful and very astute. And, you know, you're not an ordinary group of turners, but you're a very special group of turners. So very good discussion for me today. Thank you very much. And this brings us to the end of the coffee hour.
There's one
Thank
thing,
you, John.
Wood shop. Thank God for wood.